Hey, welcome back. You made it to 2023. Hey, let's go. Yes, look at me, uploading on the first week.
Psych!
Welcome to the new year, and with the new year comes a lot of new things, because, it's the start of something new. But yeah, 2022 was a year that there was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, when it comes to manga and anime. There's a lot of things you could talk about, take from it. And yeah, it was probably like one of the bigger years for manga especially, and definitely for anime. A lot of anime came out last year, and yeah, there's just a lot that 2022 had to offer, and I'm hoping that 2023 is the exact same, if not even better. And so yeah, as you can see the title from below, it is a prediction video, mainly just general predictions. Honestly, if you want a personal predictions, or I put them as New Year's resolutions for myself and what I want to do in 2023, check out my Twitter. I did a bunch of ones focused on certain subgenres, so manga goals for myself, anime goals, personal, YouTube, wrestling, I think I also did. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from there. If you want to go take a look, follow me as well on Twitter. All my socials are down there. Click the link, the link tree gets you all my socials, and yeah, just interact with me, and just you can see what I want to strive for in the year of 2023. But we're gonna be looking at manga and anime. It took me a while to think of that. Sorry, I actually wound up shooting this a lot earlier. It was daytime, and the lighting was perfect. And it sucks living with people, because people are loud. Without further ado, we're gonna be going through these one by one. Gonna go manga, anime. So basically, I made a list on my phone, and yeah, I will be telling you what I hope or what I predict will happen in the year of 2023. So let's get on with the list. Manga prediction number one, it's gonna be the year of the manhwa. Now, a lot of people who are fans of manhwa can be like, hey, 2022 was probably the year for it. Yeah, you could have a case there, but there was a lot of things going on, and honestly, I believe that it was more the beginning of manhwa for it, because you have a bunch of light novels, and then you have like things like Tower of God that recently was printed, The Boxer was recently printed, stuff like Lore Olympus that was running through the year, Killing Stalking for people who like Killing Stalking. There's just a lot to choose from in the manhwa category, and yeah, I feel like you've barely scratched the surface. Hell, I didn't even mention Solo Leveling, which was something that ran through the year. So when looking at 2023, I think manhwa will be a big thing in both anime and manga, honestly. I know I put this as the manga prediction, but you could take both. Solo Leveling is getting an anime right now. Tower of God Season 2, I believe, is a thing. And so yeah, the manhwa are probably gonna get published more. And yeah, these are like predictions for basically those. God of High School is like the biggest one that isn't out anywhere yet, because you had Tower of God, which was the thing that when those two got animes, they coincided with each other, I believe. Maybe one was after the other, who knows, I forget. That was a while ago, which is crazy to think about. Shout out to Revercy on YouTube, good friend of mine that I have been able to meet in 2022. She did a top 10 video of her top 10 just favorite things, and there was a lot of manhwa that piqued my interest. A certain someone was something that I really liked the premise for when she was explaining it, and yeah, I hope that gets printed here. And yeah, there's just a lot of manhwa in general. There's a lot to it. Webtoons is a big thing. What people love webtoons, and then they're gonna bring their stuff over, as you see with Tower of God, Solo Leveling. Those things, those popular series will get printed, and I believe it's gonna be a case where it'll be a lot easier for manhwas to be published than mangas in 2023, because it's just an audience more niche, but I feel like the manhwa community knows what they want, per se. Take a look at those releases from last year. Solo Leveling obviously should have been one of the first ones to be published. It got published. It has, I believe, 6 volumes at the time of recording, maybe even 7. It has 2 box sets, even though they're split or whatever. It has box sets. Tower of God recently got printed. The Boxer is one that a lot of people were hyping up when it came out. I bought a copy. I am eager to read that because I've heard nothing but good things about it, even especially from the people who just read Volume 1 when it came out last month. When you look at things like Tokyo Revengers, sorry for the glare, and Blue Lock, these are fan favorites that a lot of people were just like, hey, we wanted these a lot sooner than we got, and it was very annoying to just wait on those, especially for Tokyo Revengers when the anime was so popular that it took forever. It took another company to grab the rights to just print it in English, which was crazy, and now we have the omnibuses. That is very hard for the manga community. I know there's demand and everything, so certain series will get the favor over others, but there's just a lot of fan favorites, and I feel with manhwa, it's such a new concept printing wise here in the States that I feel like they'll just play the safe route right now and be like, all right, what's the most popular ones, and obviously those will get printed out first. So like I said, I have no manhwa affiliation. I don't think I've ever read a manhwa, at least like a proper one, or a webtoon. So the only ones I have a recollection of are the ones that were animated. So God of High School, Tower God, Noblesse was something that I know it's a manhwa. I never saw it, but I know it's a manhwa. So yeah, those I believe will get printed. Those big ones will get printed in the future, and yeah, I feel like it'll be a lot easier for them. And then, like I said, animes are coming out for them, and they're more frequent than other years, so I feel like it'll be a very big year for manhwas. So yeah, that's prediction number one. I said manga, but honestly that could be for 2, manga and anime. Our first manhwa prediction was a very positive one, but we're going to be looking to the negative, sadly, for our anime prediction, the first one. And for me, what I wrote down here was that one Shonen Jump adaptation will be horrible. Now Shonen Jump, Shueisha, you know, the big guns in the shonen world, they have many of anime coming out that are slated for 2023, and I feel like there's gonna be one that just cans the bed. This also will be extended to things that are currently running in anime that could possibly just wind up getting worsely animated. I don't hope for these, obviously. I want anime and manga to be as good as it can possibly be, but I feel like something's gonna give and it's gonna suck. And yeah, here are some anime that are going to be from the Shonen Jump line that are going to be out in 2023, either new series or continuations. You have Bleach Part 2 of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. You have Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. You got Mashle, Undead Unluck, Me and Roboco, Mission Yozakura Family might be one. I think Ayakashi Triangle is currently one that's going on right now. There's just a lot to choose from when it comes to the Shonen Jump line and the animated verse. You know, that stuff. I don't know why I call it the animated verse. And so one will flop. It's hard for everything to go 100%, which sucks. You know, you love it to. It's very hard for it to just reach that point. If you had to ask me for which one I think will be the bad product, nothing that will be owned by Disney will be bad. So I feel like Bleach is safe, even though the schedule for it is not great. I feel like that's perfectly gonna be what it is. I also think Jujutsu Kaisen will be fine because it's probably Mappa's baby at this point, that and Chainsaw Man, but I don't think Chainsaw Man you'll get in 2023. You'll just have Jujutsu Kaisen because, you know, they're working on everything, which is very tricky. And so yeah, and so I feel like it'll be one of the newer series. My best bet, and if you're a fan of it, I'm sorry, I feel like Undead Unluck might be the one that gets the bad adaptation, and I'll explain why. Mashle I completely love. I am probably being biased to Mashle. They might skip around, who knows. But every trailer for Mashle, in comparison to every trailer I've seen for Undead, which I think has only been 2, I think like 2 and 2 together, it's obvious that Mashle's the better one. As in looks and acting, we've had barely any acting for Undead Unluck. Mashle, you've had like a really good trailer that was maybe even 2 of them. I think honestly Mashle will be the sleeper hit for 2023. A lot of people who did like the One Punch Man first season of the anime will probably gravitate towards it, even though it is completely different with Harry Potter. It still has the same tone because, you know, strong guy overtakes everything. And then the one thing I will say from the Undead Unluck trailers is that even though I think it's David Productions doing the anime, every other shot it feels like it's looks completely different from what the manga looks like. It's very weird. There are some shots that look completely one-to-one from the manga, and I do like those. When I was reading Undead Unluck weekly, when I was at the time, I did enjoy the look of it. I thought it was probably the most unique. It felt very Western, the way it was drawn. I felt like this could have just been a comic artist, honestly. I like the way it's drawn, and honestly, there are some moments in those trailers where they're very brief, but they hold on to it where it looks completely like a different other anime. Fuko looks like she belongs in like some other series. Andy looks completely different to 180 from what he looks like. And, you know, I'll have shots around the screen for you, but there are certain shots where I'm like, eh. Also, you must take consideration into series that are about to end. So yeah, those two, Mashle and Undead, are close to ending, I believe. So I feel like one person's gonna be like, all right, cool, we'll just rush it. I believe Mashle is done by A1 Pictures, who have a track record of rushing things, so that might be the case for that. But I feel like if I had to put my money on it, probably Ayakashi Triangle, because or, you know, I probably think Undead Unluck. All right, let's take back to the manga section. Manga prediction number 2, some publishing, certain titles I believe that might or have a good chance of getting published, basically my wish list, if you will, for 2023. So I've got Zatch Bell, Tomodachi Game, Ace of Diamond, and Kotaro Lives Alone. So these are 4 titles that I think will be published in 2023 or have a good chance, and I'll explain why. I'll do bottom to top first. So first on the list is Kotaro Lives Alone. It was probably the one show in 2022 that went down everyone's radar. No one really talked about it, and if you talked about it, it's because you are a Netflix fiend and you probably just are on the Netflix page a lot. I love that series. That series is amazing. Underrated gem in my opinion, Kotaro Lives Alone. It sucks that no one really talked about it. 2022, in my opinion, was the year of like the anime child. You had like Anya, you had Kotaro, you had Boji from Ranking of Kings. Like, you have a bunch of children in anime, and yeah, you can also add Ranking of Kings there, because I feel like that's probably a foregone conclusion. I'll throw 5 Ranking of Kings, because I feel like that is a popular series that in due time will get animated. I feel like publishers will be a lot more quicker to get on hype for bigger series, so I feel like just give it a couple months, maybe Ranking of Kings will get some translation here officially and get published here. Kotaro Lives Alone is a possibility because throughout 2022, it was very random where you would go to a Barnes & Nobles and certain series would be on the shelf that had the big giant Netflix sticker, as soon as Netflix, or this is a Netflix series. You had series like Hellbound, Spriggan was one of them. There was a bunch of other ones, I believe. There was a couple of them at least. But they always have the giant sticker on them. Thankfully, I believe Alice in Borderlands, even though it is a Netflix series, it's completely different from the adaptation, so that never got a sticker, thankfully, because that would look horrible on those editions. I feel like Kotaro Lives Alone will probably just be one of the random ones that just pops up out of nowhere. And yeah, it'll be great because it is a good series. If you want a series that you can binge easily, easily as in like it's a short series, but it can make you cry. That almost made me cry. I would personally check it out. I believe Scanlations, because I did want to read after what the anime had done, doesn't catch up to the anime. Honestly, I believe when I started looking for it, it didn't even catch up to the last episode. I think it was like the translations were on the last episode, so there is a lot of material to just go to, because it currently is ongoing as well. There's no end in sight for it, so yeah, it's confusing. So we gotta see in the near future. I'm hoping that it gets some published, maybe like maybe a Yen Press. 7C is probably the best bet, because 7C likes to do a lot. So yeah, maybe a Dark Horse, if Dark Horse wants to get a little bit more titles under their line. Even though I feel like there was a couple, like a month ago, I believe, last month, Dark Horse was like, oh, we're open to going back to older series and publishing them new again. So yeah, I will save that for later. Pretty much, you'll find out later what I think about that. So yeah. And then going on to the Netflix route, Tomodachi Game. I'll skip the Tomodachi Game, leave Ace of Diamond for next. But Tomodachi Game is a death game, which is very much I believe the equivalent to a tournament arc in subgenres in anime and manga. You look at a death game, you're like, ooh, I'm interested. You have things like Kaiji, which I think is like the best death game, I guess, animated wise. Kakegurui, Blue Lock, like I said, Blue Lock is considered a death game, even though no one dies in it. But yeah, the biggest death game, obviously, out is Squid Game. Squid Game is a big thing. Season 2, I believe, comes out this year, or if not, 2024. I don't think there was a official year release date. Who knows? But yeah, death games are popular. A lot of people like the drama in death games, so I feel like Tomodachi Game is no different. I feel like a lot of people will probably want a death game to read, like a proper death game, a proper one, not like similar elements to a death game. I feel like a death game will be something that a lot of people would like to gravitate to read, and Tomodachi Game is that. There was an anime in 2022 which I thought was pretty decent, but like I said, if you checked out my 12 days of manga, my honorable mentions, I mentioned Tomodachi Game in it because there's a lot that the manga does that the anime doesn't. So obviously you're gonna have that when you you switch over. There's a lot of things that are missing, and the art is one of them. The art is I've been told very beautiful. I've seen from stills, it is gorgeous, so I can't say enough about that. So I believe in the future it'll be maybe it'll be out, maybe even announced. I feel like there's a good chance for that because of the popularity of a death game, and the popularity of that genre leads to popularity to another genre, which is sports. The end of 2022 was a interesting one. You had series like Blue Lock, Awashi, which I think can also probably be on this list as well. You had like the big sports series. There was another soccer manga. There was a bunch of sports towards the end of the year, you had the World Cup, which was very big, and I feel like a lot of people will get into the mood for more sports series leading up to big events like that. Baseball is probably the one that I think of the most because you have the soccer series that I mentioned. Blue Lock is currently out. Awashi probably will get printed in the future. You got things like Prince of Tennis, which is not a print series, I believe, or out of stock or whatever. It's hard to get volumes. Whistle is also another soccer series that is old. And you have things like iShield 21, football, and, you know, Slam Dunk as well, basketball, Kuroko's Basket, Haikyuu, those big series. I believe Cross Game is the only baseball series to be published in the US, if I'm correct. I don't think there's any baseball one at all, and I think that's a romance technically. Don't know, I never read it, but yeah, baseball is one that is missing from our current state, which is very weird because, you know, it's America's pastime, so you'd expect it to be printed here. And with the hype of sports manga letting into 2023, it's easy that you would just bring a sports baseball manga here, and Ace of Diamond is probably the biggest one. There was a lot to choose from. There's that, I believe, I think it's like something outs, like All Out or something like that. But Ace of Diamond is the biggest one. Yes, it is big in literally popularity and size. There are 2 series, I believe, Ace of Diamond 1 and 2, or Act 1, Act 2. So there is a lot to adapt there, but you honestly could just do them in chunky omnibuses, 3-in-1s. You'd probably have to manage that if you want to manage that at all. I know Kuroko's is doing a 2-in-1 from Viz. You have a bunch of series just doing 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s, omnibuses. You know, it's a thing for publishers to be like, hey, we don't want to print every single volume, so we'll just do omnibuses. And honestly, with the big series like that, you'd probably go the omnibus route. That's not to say that it's a bad thing. There are some omnibuses, like I said, that have looked really good. I think technically the Full Metal Alchemist ones are omnibuses. They're 1.5 volumes. Obviously, Girl on the Other Side, like I said, is a 3-in-1. When I went to my manga I want to read videos, I mentioned that. It's a gorgeous 3-in-1. The Maid Sama, like the shoujo, I believe they're shoujo, mainly shoujo. I think To Love Ru is also a omnibus in that format, that style, I believe. High School Debut. Those look gorgeous. So I feel like Ace of Diamonds pretty much easy. You can just make it to just every cover is just a player on the team. Release it in a Viz Big probably if you want to go Viz. Even though I think it's a Kodansha project, I believe. Viz is probably the best bet if you want an omnibus, because Kodansha, it's tricky with his omnibuses. It's tricky. It's got, I think Parasite, the full color one, is an omnibus. I'm not sure. So I'm blanking on omnibuses for Kodansha. So it's hard for that series because I believe it is Kodansha owned. But yeah, if you gotta do a sports series, I feel like that is the one to choose from. At least the big one that's missing in my opinion. Zatch Bell's the last one. Zatch Bell is probably the biggest stretch, mainly because the whole history behind the manga. It wasn't finished publishing in English, so, you know, there's missing volumes. It's an incomplete set if you want the original set. And the whole dispute with the creator being unhappy with how his work was treated overseas, so it's very hard. But there is a glimmer of hope. There is a Spanish edition from Kitsune Manga that is currently being published, or I believe it's about to be published, if not already out. So there are traces of it. The art book from the exhibition was published and brought over to the States, so that's great. I think it's only a Japanese one, so it's just imported. But yeah, Zatch Bell is a nostalgic series. Nostalgic series have been, you know, popping up slowly. You had Shaman King. You have stuff like Fist of the North Star. The Soul Eater Perfect Editions are technically classics as well. You got a bunch of classics going around, so I feel like this is a no-brainer. It just depends on who's going to pay the money to get it. If I had my pick of the litter, the two companies that I would most likely want to take over the license, the unlikely one is Viz, because they've already had it before. They gave it up or they lost the rights or whatever, so it's harder for them to get it back. But then again, you have the singles that they have printed before, so you can just reprint those. That's easier, and you know, those don't have to be out of stock anymore or out of print, so scalpers can't be a thing for those volumes anymore, which is annoying because I'm pretty much giving up on those, or collecting those, at least unless I find a big set of it for a good price. I'm pretty much giving up on Zatch Bell. Or my second choice, which is probably the option I would want the most, is Seven Seas. Seven Seas has done a good job with the Tokyo Revengers, at least the first 2 volumes, with the good, nice paper. They get that great paper that I have, you know, this gorgeous paper. I would like Zatch Bell to be in this paper format. And then you can do the volume covers in the Japanese tradition, where it's the Spellcaster and their Mamoto. Those covers, unlike the English covers they're decent. I believe they look really nice, but something about the Mamoto covers in Japanese, those look a lot better, and just they pop up a lot more, even though you have your manga positioned spine wise. I do like those looks better, and honestly I feel like with the quality that Seven Seas can do on a big series, if they're willing to pay the creator for it, go for it. Honestly, I'll maybe throw in Dark Horse there because they are bereft of anime series. Actually, I believe they only have like 3 current running anime publishing books at the moment, so their cycle is very small. And speaking of Zatch Bell, we're going to be going to the anime prediction again. Remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them. You know, we've been privy to them in the years before us. You had the ones like Shaman King, obviously Hunter x Hunter's the big one. Recently you had Totally and Hanako-kun, which weirdly enough is getting the Brotherhood treatment, even though it should be The Promised Neverland. Series like those nostalgic series, Urusei Yatsura as well. How could I forget that? Those series are nostalgic series that are coming back in a remake or reboot. And honestly, I believe that we will get one more of those. And I have a couple options. Some that might seem out of left field, some that are probably possible. Also, a caveat, if the reboot is made, it'll be made by Disney. I feel like Disney is going to be a big contender in anime in 2023. They've already had the license to Bleach. They currently are getting the license to Tokyo Revengers Season 2. So they're going to be a big thing. They have Summertime Rendering, which a lot of people said is one of the top anime from last year. So their catalog is slowly going to grow, and it's going to grow really big. So these are series that are very unrealistic when you think about it, but if Disney's pushing towards them, there's a possibility. Like I said, Zatch Bell is on the list. Zatch Bell is probably the one on this list that I feel like should be remade the easiest, because it is one that is probably due for a remake, in my opinion, when I look at it, because it's an older anime. Even though the charm is there of the original series, I would like to see it looking great, look closer to what the manga looks like. The manga looks beautiful at times, honestly. I've seen some panels and it's so gorgeous. One that could be likely, if I don't know what the situation with them on Netflix is, but Saint Seiya could be a perfect one as well. I believe they have like a stronghold, Netflix does, on the Saint Seiya franchise. They make a bunch of movies, 3 animated ones, a series, I believe. There's a lot of Saint Seiya on Netflix, so transitioning that to Disney could be a bit harder. But I feel like if you want a proper reboot of the anime, I don't feel like Netflix is going to do it, because they just make spin-offs, because it is a popular series, so fans will just eat up whatever they bring out to them. And so yeah, I feel like Disney could take that and just, you know, remake it, repolish it, and make it look good. Okay, so now I have 3 that are very hard in my opinion. They're very unlikely, but it'd be crazy to see. Number 1 is Yu-Gi-Oh, the original Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think it needs a reboot. Maybe like a repolish, make everything 16:9. That's pretty much it, like a deluxe edition of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's, in my opinion, what would be great for it. Because, you know, you're not getting the Pokemon bag, Disney. Sorry, you're not getting the Nintendo bag. So the next best thing is either a Digimon or a Yu-Gi-Oh. And I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh, you can capture the original. And if you remake it, I would like it to be the original, like, manga version. So make it dark and everything. It'd be cool. And then if it can fit the tone, have the original actors. And yeah, the one upside I believe in Disney acquiring series is that it'll pay its actors well, hopefully, I hope. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can see a positive for that studio or subsection, the Disney, whatever, Disney Plus. If not that, you know, dub the last season of GX, because, you know, a lot of people want that dubbed, so that'd be great. And then the other 2 that I feel like are the most unlikely, but it'd be crazy and out of left field if they happen, is Reborn, Katekyo Hitman Reborn, and Ouran High School Host Club. Reborn is something that's been basically just rumored for years now. Like a couple months ago, it was like, oh, this is getting a remake of the anime. It's getting the Brotherhood treatment, the Hunter x Hunter treatment. And in Jump Festa, we got nothing of it. No inkling at all for that series. It was never mentioned. I believe the Amano's detective work got announced for an anime, so that's great. And basically that just negated anything about Reborn at all, because, you know, that's a series of hers. Ouran is a different story, though, because Ouran is a series that a lot of people who watched it look very fondly of. I've tried to watch it a couple times, and it has its charm, I will say, and, you know, it is a possibility. Because you had things like Fruit Baskets that had a new version or a new take on it. Bastard had a new version and take on it. Those, like, came out of nowhere. And I feel like Ouran could be that one that just comes out of nowhere, but it'll look good. Does this mean I think Ouran deserves or needs a remake or a reboot or something? Definitely not. I feel like the anime itself stands well on its feet. It aged very well, in my opinion, even though it is a slog to get through, at least in the beginning for me. I believe it's something that can hold its own for years to come and just, you know, stay on its course. The dub cast is basically just the dub all-stars. If you watch this in sub, what were you doing? Because every main dub actor was on this, so yeah. And then obviously getting the original dub cast is going to be hard because of the elephant in the room, which I will not mention. But yeah, it's very hard. I think Fullmetal Alchemist is getting like a new project, and it's gonna be hard when that gets dubbed, if that gets dubbed at all, because of the elephant in the room, which I will not mention. If you know, you know. If not, go look it up, because it's something I don't want to mention here. And so yeah, if I feel like if it comes to like a shoujo series, I don't know if you classify Ouran as a shoujo, but if you look at shoujos, I feel like the next, or the one that makes perfect sense for it to get rebooted, would probably be that one, because it comes out of nowhere, but it's a popular one. It's a popular one that people like. A lot of people collect the box sets, the anime, manga. There's a fan base for that series, and I feel like if you give them a remake, they would just love it, honestly. And yeah, obviously there are ones that I would rather much take, like I said, Promised Neverland. I would very much love if you could do iShield 21 in its Murata art style. I would love that and stuff like that. You know, just ones that make sense, in my opinion. If Bones could be, I believe I might have it on here. I'll mention it here. If Bones can somehow remake One Punch Man, in my opinion, because they did such a good job with Mob Psycho, where they could just take one's properties and just make them their own, I would love that. So I'd make that into a remake or a reboot, even though it doesn't need. I feel like One Punch Man will be that series that just goes to a new studio every time. It's rumored that's Mappa for season 3, which would be great. But if I had my pick, it'd be Bones, because they just make one series into just great goodness. Manga prediction number 3. Kodansha, 7 Seas, and/or Yen Press will get an app that is similar to the Shonen Jump app. So basically what I'm hinting at is a proper app that you can just read the chapters as they release, or just, you know, archived on there that you can just get a subscription for like $4, because I feel like they at least charge a bit more for their series because they think their series are that big. I feel like it's about time. I know they have like certain apps that they're partnered with that have their chapters, and then you have like the Kindle stuff. Crunchyroll technically has a manga app, but I feel like one of these series are due for a app at this point, and I feel like it could be one of those like Kodansha, where it's like, hey, we have all these gigantic series that people just want to be printed, but we don't want to print it. Let's make an app, get on an app. I know an app is hard to make. I believe it is very annoying, the intricacies that go into making an app and putting an app on the stores like Google Play and the Apple Store. So I get it, but it's going to be a thing where you see the popularity Shonen Jump has through the app. Certain series like Hunters, the Robin Hood one from that was canceled, Ayashimon, those, even though were canceled, the popularity of those series led to them getting printed in the US. So I feel like Kodansha can gauge, or, you know, Yen Press or a 7 Seas. I feel like if anyone's going to do it, it'll be either a Yen Press or a Kodansha because of their catalog. So I feel like those have the best shot of doing that. And they can just see from their fan base through the app what deserves to be printed, what can stay in the vault digitally behind the digital jail known as the online web. And, you know, just different variety. I do enjoy the Shonen Jump app. I literally read it every Sunday when I can, whenever a new chapter drops for a series that I'm currently reading weekly. I enjoy it a lot, so I would love that for other series. Like, you can read like Beck, Initial D, GTO, Tokyo Revengers, even though it's already done, stuff like that. You have Yen Press's catalog, so Yowamushi Pedal can be on there. Murcielago, which I currently have all the volumes for. Like, big series like that are very much iffy from a collector's perspective or a casual's perspective, to be like, oh, should I get this? No, you can just read it on the app. Make the first 5 chapters. Even though Shonen Jump does 3 chapters, just do the first 5. That's it. You don't even have to get the latest chapters. available for free. So make the first 5 chapters of every series available. That'll be a good testing point for people. And so yeah, that can test them to be like, all right, cool. Entice them to buy the app subscriptions. And in turn, you get to see what series are doing better. And in turn, you get to see what people want to get printed again. Okay, so this anime prediction is something I really hope happens. And it's Madhouse shows a glimpse of their golden era. Mappa pretty much has taken over the mantle of like, hey, this is the big series where they come to play. Basically, like if you want a series to do well anime wise, you bring it to Mappa and then they just do everything. But it used to be Madhouse. Madhouse had One Punch Man season 1. They had Hunter x Hunter, you know, Death Note, stuff like that ilk. Yeah, just a bunch of good series from that studio itself that, you know, it just needs a bit more. So I feel like there could be a chance. Even though it's not official yet, there could be a chance that Madhouse has One Punch Man again. Like I said, One Punch Man has been everywhere. Mappa apparently, Bones references it in Mob. It was referenced in Sunny Boy from Madhouse, even though it was very annoying to have that reference there, even though they only did season 1. But just one notable show, because I feel like the last 2 big or known series from Madhouse were Overlord and No Gun's Life, which I didn't watch any of those, so yeah. And it sucks because it was great recommending Madhouse back in the day when you used to get started in the anime community. Hell, even I think they did Death Parade. So yeah, they have a good catalog, but they just haven't been themselves since like 5 years ago, which sucks. So other one series that'll blow anyone away, even though a lot of people enjoyed Sunny Boy, unlike me, I thought it was garbage, honestly. But yeah, just a series that a lot of people can enjoy, and it shows like, hey, Madhouse is here. They can still do stuff. They can still pull out quality when they can, and it'll be the start of just like a rebirth or a resurgence for them. So I hope, because I hate that everyone just says, oh, it's got to be Mappa, it's got to be Mappa. Like, no, there are other studios. Even though I love Wit Studios, they are very limited to what they publish. I think they are only doing Vinland, and they're only doing Spy Family, which is very low, but hey, it's what they want to do. And then you have KyoAni, which is a good series if you want stuff to look good. So yeah, just another option, and an option that we very much do miss in the anime community. Madhouse, just, you know, show that you can do it again. Manga prediction number 4. It's pretty much an easy one. A Shonen Jump title that is very big will end in the magazine this year. One of the big ones. So that could be either Jujutsu Kaisen, which I don't think will end in 2023. Maybe a My Hero that has entered its final arc. Black Clover maybe. One Piece, even though I'm pretty sure it's not going to be finished anytime soon, even though it is its final saga. Something like that. I feel like there's going to be one giant exit. We had one with Dr. Stone last year that came out of nowhere. Even though that was one that pretty much was like, hey, we're just done. We're done. I feel like there's going to be one that's like not the same thing like a Dr. Stone where it's like, hey, we're done. It's going to be a thing where it's like, hey, we're going to finish soon in a couple weeks. So we're just going to write the ending and we're letting you know. So yeah, I don't know which one it's going to be. It's going to suck to see a giant popular series go. But I feel like with the new series that are coming into Jump, I feel like there's room for just one giant exit and the magazine will be okay. You have things like Akane Banashi that a lot of people love. You have, like I said, the middlemen like the Yozakura family, I think it's High School family as well, something like that. Like those are like in the middle. Me and Roboco does well for what it is. Sakamoto Days is an amazing series in the magazine. So yeah, and then you have big newer series like Akane Banashi, like I said, Ichinose Family Secret, which I think is probably like one, in my opinion, the best series. I haven't read Akane, but I feel like it is the best series that come out of 2022 in the magazine. So at least the new series. Don't hold me to that. I love that series a lot, and I feel like there's just a lot of quality. You have the creator of the Monogatari series doing Cypher Academy on the magazine, even though I feel like it's just an okay series. There's a lot of heft to the magazine, and there's just 4 new series that got added into the magazine at the end of the year, so there's going to be something that might drop soon. It might be even Mashal or Undead, because they were already rumored to, or at least they already confirmed that they were in their final stages, so it might be one of those. But a giant exit. Do I want to see someone go? Obviously not, unless the story makes sense to complete it at that moment at least. Then no, just write as much as you can. I don't wish for any series to get canceled. I will like a mangaka to write his or her proper ending. So that is the main goal I would love for a mangaka. So if they can complete it in a fashion that they would love, go for it, and I would understand. Okay, we're gonna go with the final anime prediction. It is a big one, like I said, but not that big. It is big to a scale, and then how I present it, not big. The Castlevania Netflix crew. If you've seen Castlevania on Netflix, I have not, but I've heard many good things about it. I've seen some clips. It looks gorgeous. That crew will announce that they finally got the rights to Berserk, but that's all they will announce. They just, hey, we can do Berserk. That is it. I believe the creators of Castlevania are big Berserk fans, and a lot of people have said that it reminds them of Berserk or what Berserk can be. I don't know the status of the Berserk anime at this point with Miura's passing, or the where the license holds and everything. I know there is a movie left from the studio that currently does the movies. I think they have a movie left, but there was a big announcement apparently going to happen soon, or it might have already happened, that might lead to like, hey, just an anime is being made for like a proper anime. Berserk is a series that a lot of people just want to get into. If you didn't see my 12 days, go check it out. Honestly, I announced that I'm doing Berserk reviews. I'm gonna do them once a season. Obviously, I want to get into Berserk. Anime would have been great. I know the 97 anime is a thing that a lot of people do look fondly of, but it's not a perfect adaptation. So just a proper series to just give to the anime fans that don't want to read would be great. As long as it can do it proud with the way it can look and how it can feel and make fans feel, and just, you know, the casual audience just gravitate towards it. I would just want that, honestly. And the Castlevania, the crew just wants it, I believe, at this point. They've mentioned it a bunch of times, like, hey, I would love to do Berserk. I'd love to put Berserk on Netflix. I'd love to just animate Berserk. So yeah, I feel like it's about time. I don't know what the state of the Castlevania series is on Netflix, but with all the positive things with it, I feel like it's only right for them to have that if anyone is going to do an anime. Obviously the Mappa thing can happen again, but no, I want it to be fresh legs, but fresh legs that can do it justice and want to do it justice. And then the final manga prediction that I'm putting out in 2023, I mentioned Dark Horse saying that they'll go back to certain series in their catalogs that they want to redo or reprint or whatever, or just give a new fresh coat of paint. The deluxe editions, if you are not familiar with their deluxe editions, they have Blade of the Immortal, Hellsing, they have obviously Berserk, those giant leathery books that look great. And I feel like we will get one of them in the future, and it's pretty obvious it should be Trigun. There's so many things that could lead it to be Trigun. One, the current series that they have in line, I believe Trigun's probably the most out of print. It's hard to get the Trigun singles, or Trigun the Maximum, or whatever the series after it is called, and I believe that's the hardest one to get. And then you have series that you would think would be hard and be obvious for deluxe editions, like how I have always screamed for Gantz to be deluxe editioned or just reprinted. They're already going through the omnibuses. I think they have like 2 more omnibuses left. So I don't feel like those will get it, at least this year. Then you have stuff like Mob Psycho that is currently going on the print cycle, which is going to probably just continue being singles. And then Gigant just recently finished its run in publication over here in the States. It's too early for that. So the only possible solution would probably just be Trigun. Now, you could be like, oh, what would it look like? What would the covers, like, what would the book look like? It's a deluxe edition, so it has to look good. I have 2 options for you. I believe one of the main characters carries like a cross that is like wrapped around in tape. Make the tape the cover and then have Trigun over it, because it's a nod to that character. So you could do that with it. Or my second option is just make it into wanted posters. Wanted posters, I believe, are a big thing in Trigun. I was fortunate enough to see episode 1 of Stampede, the new series that is coming out this season. I think episode 1 should be out by the time this comes out, but that season is out. I remember a poster looking really good, and I believe posters are a big thing because they're bounty hunters. They have bounties on them, so you can make them in the style of posters. So obviously the dark brown would be the cover, and then you can have Trigun on top, and then you can be like volume 1 or something like that. Make it look like a wanted poster, and honestly it would look great, and it's the nod to the posters that are seen in the series. So yeah, it was the one that made the most sense, honestly. Of course they could just reprint stuff, which would be good too, but a lot of people do enjoy the deluxe editions that Dark Horse has to offer when they do offer them, and I feel like it's a no-brainer for Trigun. There's so many things like the new anime coming out, and the fact that it's probably the most out-of-print series in the lot of their catalogs. And that's it. That is the predictions video for 2023. Hopefully, these predictions come true. Hopefully, I would love them to come true. If you like what I did here, like, comment, subscribe. I very much do appreciate it. What are your predictions for 2023? Let me know down below. Let's interact. I want to hear what you think will happen in the year of 2023. Anime, manga, or just in general. You know, what are your aspirations, New Year's resolutions, whatever. Because I feel like it'll be a big year, especially for series in manga and anime. And I just look forward to what the year brings us. And hopefully it brings us a lot of good. And without further ado, if you like what I do here, like I said, like, comment, all that stuff that YouTube tells you to do, because YouTube is always changing, and, you know, share with your friends, and yeah. And this is the first video of 2023. Hopefully I can keep up with my resolution of 3 uploads a month. So yeah, I will see you guys in about a week or two, whenever the next video comes, the Crunchyroll video. So yeah, I will see you guys till then. Peace.